For the remainder of your life, there is a truth that many overlooking. Your life is not shaped by your circumstances, but by the thoughts you hold in your mind. Every victory, every setback, for the remainder of your life, every dream realized or abandoned begins first with the pattern of your thinking. If you desire a new life, you must first desire a new way of thinking, because your thoughts are the blueprint for your future. Your life today is the sum of the thoughts you allowed to take root yesterday. Every choice you've made, every result you've experienced stems from the seeds you planted in your mind long before you saw their harvest. If your present circumstances do not satisfy you for the remainder of your life, it is not fate or chance holding you back. It is the thoughts you have nurtured, often unconsciously. Change begins the moment you realize that a different harvest requires different seeds, and those seeds are the beliefs and ideas you choose to cultivate daily. Consider this. For the remainder of your life, no farmer expects apples when planting thorns. Yet many people expect success while planting doubt, expect joy while focusing on fear, expect abundance while constantly thinking of lack. Your mind operates under the same laws as the soil. It does not question what you plant. It simply multiplies it. If you want success, courage, and grow, you must be intentional about what you sow in thought, because those thoughts will grow into habits, and those habits will shape your destiny. For the remainder of your life, the transformation of your life begins in silence, long before the world notices. For the remainder of your life, it begins in the quiet decision to stop watering the weeds of negative thinking and start nurturing the flowers of possibility. When you deliberately shift your focus toward what you want, rather than what you fear, you empower yourself to act in alignment with your goals. Over time, these consistent form a new mindset, and that mindset builds a new life. It is not enough to simply wish for change. You must believe it, think it, and live as though it is already unfolding. Your subconscious mind is deeply influenced by repetition. So the more you affirm your potential for the remainder of your life, the more your thoughts align with your vision. This is why daily reflection, gratitude, and purposeful mental discipline are vital. They keep your mind fixed on the direction you wish to go, even when your current reality has not yet caught up. When you commit to planting new seeds, you must also be patient with their growth. Change rarely happens overnight, but with persistence, it becomes inevitable. Every positive thought you hold, every moment you choose faith over fear, adds to the momentum of your transformation. And one day, almost without realizing it, for the remainder of your life, you will look around and see a life that mirrors the thoughts you chose to think. A life built not by chance, but by conscious design. For the remainder of your life, every achievement the world has ever admired began as a simple idea in someone's mind. It was never the immediate result of luck or sudden opportunity. For the remainder of your life, of a single seed of thought, carefully nurtured until it became reality. The world outside will never bend to your will until the world inside is mastered. Of your life, this mastery begins with the recognition that your thoughts are the command center of your actions, and that your external results are merely reflections of your internal beliefs. When you accept this, you stop blaming circumstances and begin shaping them through intentional thought. The challenge is that most people allow their minds to drift in every direction, feeding on fear, doubt, and distraction. They spend their energy imagining what could go wrong instead of focusing on what could go right. Such scattered thinking cannot produce focused action, and without focused action, no meaningful change is possible. For the remainder of your life, conquering the world within you means training your thoughts the way a warrior trains his body, with discipline, repetition, and clarity of purpose. For the remainder of your life, this inner discipline becomes the foundation upon which all outward achievements are built. When your thoughts become disciplined, they develop a sharpness that cuts through confusion and fear. Clarity begins to replace chaos, and you start seeing opportunities where others only see obstacles. For the remainder of your life, fixing your mind on what you desire rather than what you fear transforms your energy. It pushes you to act boldly and persist, even when the path seems uncertain. The more you focus on what you want, the more you draw it closer, because your actions naturally align with your dominant thoughts. This inner victory does not happen overnight, but every small step strengthens your control over the mind. Every time you catch yourself drifting into fear and redirect your thoughts toward faith, you reclaim more of your power. For the remainder of your life, each moment of clarity builds momentum until the disciplined mindset becomes second nature. And when it does, you begin to notice how your outer world starts to shift. Opportunities appear, ideas flow, and results multiply in ways that seem almost effortless. Ultimately, changing the world within you is the greatest battle you will ever fight, but also the most rewarding. For the remainder of life, your beliefs are the silent builders of the life you live. Every decision you make, every action you take for the remainder of your life, and every word you speak springs from the foundation of what you truly believe about yourself and the world around you. If deep down you hold the conviction that you are capable and worthy of success, you will naturally move toward opportunities with courage and determination. If, however, you secretly believe you are unworthy or destined to fail, you will hesitate, avoid risks, and close yourself off from the very chances that could transform your life. For the remainder of your life, without even realizing it, your beliefs either open doors or keep them locked. When you look back at the moments where you hesitated, you will often find that fear was rooted in a limiting belief. Perhaps you believed the challenge was too great, or that you were not strong enough, smart enough, or deserving enough to try. These invisible barriers are often more powerful than any real obstacle because they prevent you from even taking the first step. The truth is, for the remainder of your life, most limitations exist not in reality, but in the mind. By changing what you believe, you begin to tear down these walls and see possibilities where there once were none. Beliefs act like a compass, quietly steering your choices day after day. If your compass points toward doubt, you will unconsciously make decisions that keep you small for the remainder of your life. But if your compass points toward faith in your abilities, you will instinctively seek growth and rise to challenges that others shy away from. This is why two people can face the same situation. One sees defeat, the other sees opportunity, and achieve drastically different outcomes for the remainder of your life. The difference is not in the situation, but in the belief that shapes their response to it. Guarding your beliefs requires constant awareness. For the remainder of your life, it means questioning the stories you've told yourself for years and replacing the ones that hold you back with those that push you forward. For the remainder of your life, it requires surrounding yourself with influences that uplift and strengthen your vision rather than those that feed your doubts. You must choose carefully what you allow into your mind because every idea, every voice, every message you consume becomes a brick in the structure of your belief system. Over time, as you replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, for your life begins to shift. For the remainder of your life, negative thinking is a prison that many do not even realize they are trapped inside. It builds invisible bars around the mind, convincing you that your current situation is permanent and that no effort can truly change it. You begin to accept failure as inevitable, challenges as insurmountable, and your dreams as unreachable fantasies. This quiet captivity eats away at ambition, replacing boldness with hesitation and hope with resignation. The saddest part is that the key to this prison has always been in your own hands, waiting for you to use it. Doubt whispers constantly in the ears of those it holds captive. For the remainder of your life, it says you aren't enough, that others are more deserving, and that your efforts will never be good enough to change your life. These lies, repeated often enough, become beliefs, and those beliefs shape every action you take or fail to take. You turn away from opportunities not because they are impossible for the remainder of your life, but because you have convinced yourself that you are incapable. The prison walls grow higher each time you surrender to those thoughts until you forget what freedom even looks like for the remainder of your life. Yet the truth is that this prison is not built of steel, but of thought. It cannot truly confine you unless you choose to remain inside it. For the moment you dare to replace doubt with faith, the structure begins to crumble. Faith does not promise instant victory, but it opens the door to possibility. It tells you that no matter how difficult the path, growth is possible, progress is possible, change is possible. The same energy once wasted on fear can be redirected into courage, and with courage comes movement. The shift begins with a simple decision, the decision to question every limiting thought and to imagine what would happen if the opposite were true. What if you were capable? What if the challenge was meant for you? What if success was possible right now? These new questions ignite a spark from your life, and that spark becomes the light guiding you out of the darkness. Each step toward faith reinforces the next, and with every small victory, your confidence grows stronger. As you walk out of the prison of negative thinking, you discover a freedom you may have forgotten existed. Life does not suddenly become easy, But it feels different because you no longer face it from a place of defeat. You meet challenges with resilience, you see setbacks as lessons, and you find yourself moving toward goals that once felt impossible. The invisible bars thoughts possess an unseen force, drawing toward you the very things that align with their nature. When your mind is filled with ideas of growth, gratitude, and abundance, you unconsciously begin to notice opportunities that others overlook. People with similar energy are drawn to you, and circumstances begin to align in your favor. This is not coincidence, but the natural result of your focus. Whatever dominates your thinking shapes the lens through which you view the world, and ultimately, what you invite into your life. A mind consumed by fear, however, produces the opposite effect. When fear becomes the dominant thought for the remainder of your life, you interpret challenges as threats rather than chances to grow. Opportunities pass you by unnoticed because you are too focused on what might go wrong. Even when good things come your way, fear whispers that they won't last, and this constant expectation of failure pushes them away. In this way, fear repels what abundance attracts for the remainder of your life, leaving you a cycle of missed chances and unrealized potential. The magnetic nature of thought is amplified by emotion. Thoughts that stir strong feelings, whether positive or negative, are the ones that shape your reality most powerfully. When you combine gratitude with belief or determination with vision, you create a powerful magnet for the very things you desire. Conversely, when worry and self-doubt dominate your inner world, for the remainder of life, they pull you toward situations that confirm those doubts. Life, in many ways, mirrors the energy you consistently project. Understanding this truth gives you an extraordinary advantage. It means that by deliberately choosing what you focus on, you can reshape the circumstances you attract. For the remainder of your life, you are not power constantly sending signals through your thoughts, and the world responds in kind. By shifting from lack to abundance, from fear to faith, for the remainder of your life, you gradually create a current that pulls opportunities, relationships, and resources in your direction. This is why guarding your mind is essential. What you dwell on daily will either work for you or against you, and the choice is always yours. Fill your thoughts with the vision of the life you want. Nurture them with gratitude for the remainder of your life, and refuse to give energy to fears that do not serve you. Over time, you will see the undeniable truth. The life you experience is a reflection of the thoughts you hold most deeply for the remainder of life. And when you change those thoughts, you change everything around you. For the remainder of life, the heart of transformation is confronting the excuses we've grown comfortable with. Excuses feel safe because they protect us from discomfort, from failure, and from the responsibility of acting. They whisper that tomorrow will be a better time to start, that the challenge is too great, or that someone else is luckier or better equipped. These justifications are seductive because they remove the pressure to change, but in doing so, they also remove the possibility of growth. Until you challenge them, for the remainder of your life, they will quietly hold you back from the life you are capable of living. Every story you tell yourself about why you cannot succeed becomes a chain around your potential. For the remainder of your life, perhaps you believe you don't have enough time, resources, or experience. Perhaps you've convinced yourself that your past defines your future, or that comfort is better than risk. But growth never comes from staying where it's safe. True transformation requires stepping into the unknown, where fear and uncertainty lie, and where the rewards for courage are the greatest. Discomfort is the birthplace of strength. The moments that stretch you, that force you beyond your limits, are the same moments that mold you into someone capable of more than you ever imagined. The world's most extraordinary achievements were not born from ease, but from struggle. For the remainder of your life, and those who accomplished them were willing to endure the discomfort others avoided. If you are serious about changing your life, you must stop seeking comfort and start seeking growth, even when it feels uncomfortable or frightening. Courage, in this sense, for the remainder of life is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. It is the voice inside that says, I will try anyway, even when doubt lingers. Each courageous step you take builds confidence, and that confidence makes the next step easier. Over time, the very things that once scared you become proof of your resilience, and you begin to trust yourself to face even greater challenges. When you finally break free from excuses and embrace discomfort, you enter the space where real transformation happens, where your thinking evolves from, I can't, A focused mind carries a force that scattered thinking can never match. When you direct all your energy toward a single goal, distractions lose their hold over you, and your actions begin to align with your vision. The person who wanders from idea to idea without commitment spends years drifting, wondering why progress is slow for the remainder of your life, while the one who concentrates with discipline finds that doors begin to open more quickly. Focus channels your time, energy, for the remainder of your life and effort into a straight rather than scattering it in every direction. Discipline in thought is not about obsessing. It is about clarity. For the remainder of life, it is knowing exactly what you want and refusing to dilute your energy with conflicting desires. Every decision you make becomes easier when you measure it against your chosen destination. Does it move you closer or pull you away? The scattered mind hesitates and overthinks, while the focused mind acts with certainty because it knows where it is going. This clarity is the hidden advantage of all great achievers. The world constantly offers distractions, tempting you to abandon your path for something easier, faster, or more entertaining. A disciplined thinker resists this pull by returning again and again to their vision. For the remainder of life, they remind themselves why they started, and they choose long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. In this way, focus is not a one-time act, but a daily practice, a constant realignment toward what truly matters. Focus also creates momentum. The more you dedicate yourself to one path, the more progress compounds over time. Small daily actions, when repeated consistently, grow into extraordinary results. What begins as a single step toward your goal eventually becomes a powerful stride, and soon the destination that once felt distant appears within reach. For the remainder of your life, this is why so many people fail. They lack the patience to remain focused long enough to witness the compounding effects of their own efforts for the remainder of your life. When you train your mind to stay fixed on your goal despite distractions, challenges, or delays, you develop a power that few possess. For the remainder of your life, you stop drifting through life and begin steering it. The discipline of focus allows you to achieve in months what others fail to achieve in years. For the remainder of your life, and once you experience the rewards of a focused mind, you will never again settle for aimless wandering, because you will have seen for yourself how clarity turns dreams into reality. For the remainder of your life, gratitude is one of the most transformative forces a person can cultivate. It shifts the mind from what is missing to what is present, from lack to abundance. When you practice noticing even the smallest blessings in your life, your perspective begins to change. The challenges you face no longer feel like burdens, but lessons. The things you once took for granted, your health, your loved ones, your opportunities, become sources of strength and joy. In this shift, you begin to see life as something happening for you rather than against you. The mind naturally tends to focus on problems, but gratitude rewires this instinct. Each time you pause to give thanks, you teach your brain to look for the good. Over time, this becomes a habit, and that habit changes your emotional state. Instead of waking up dreading the day ahead, you begin to notice reasons to be hopeful. Instead of dwelling on setbacks, you begin searching for the hidden opportunity they carry. This new pattern of thinking lifts your spirit and fuels your motivation to keep moving forward. Gratitude also creates a powerful expectation for good things to come. When you are thankful for what you already have, you send a signal to yourself and to life itself that you are ready for more. This expectation influences how you act, the risks you take, and the energy you give to your goals. People are drawn to those who radiate appreciation because it inspires trust and positivity. Opportunities often flow toward the person who appreciates them most. Even in difficult seasons, gratitude can become your anchor. When life feels uncertain, for the remainder of your life, taking time to count even one or two blessings can calm the storm in your mind. It reminds you that not everything is falling apart, and that there is still something worth holding on to. This simple act can restore hope when everything else feels lost, and hope is often the spark needed to begin again. So living in gratitude does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to see beyond them, acknowledging the good that still exists, and believing that more good is possible. The more consistently you practice this, the more naturally it shapes your thoughts, your decisions, and eventually your life. Gratitude for the remainder of your life. The voices you allow into your life shape the way you think about yourself and what you believe is possible. For the remainder of your life, One encouraging word from the right person can spark confidence you didn't know you had, while one negative remark from the wrong person can plant seeds of doubt that take root for years. This is why the company you keep is not just about companionship. It is about the influence those people have on your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. The environment around you either nurtures your growth or quietly stifles it. Toxic influences are often subtle. They may disguise themselves as friends, family, or even well-meaning advisors, yet their words constantly remind you of your limits rather than your potential. Over time, these voices become the background noise of your thinking, convincing you to aim lower. For the remainder of life, play it safe and stop reaching for more. Recognizing this influence is the first step to breaking free from it. For the remainder of your life, the mind cannot flourish in an environment that constantly waters fear instead of faith. On the other hand, for the remainder of life, surrounding yourself with uplifting and challenging voices transforms the way you approach life. People who believe in you push you to see possibilities you may not have considered. For the remainder of your life, their confidence in your potential fuels your own belief, and their example shows you what is achievable through perseverance and vision. For the your life, these are the voices that not only inspire, but also hold you accountable, urging you to rise higher than your excuses. The power of the right influence is amplified over time. Conversations, encouragement, and even silent examples from those you admire begin to rewire your thinking. You start to speak differently, act differently, and view challenges differently simply because you are constantly exposed to a higher standard. Just as negativity spreads quickly, so does positivity for the remainder of your life, and the more you immerse yourself in it, the more naturally it becomes your default state of mind. Choosing who you allow to shape your thoughts is an act of responsibility toward your future. It may mean letting go of certain relationships, setting boundaries for the remainder of your life, or actively seeking mentors and peers who align with the life you are building. This decision is not about arrogance. Every day presents itself as a blank page, an unwritten chapter in the story of your life. No matter how many mistakes were made yesterday, today offers a fresh opportunity to begin again. The power of this realization is immense because it reminds you that your future is not determined by your past, but by the thoughts you choose in this moment. Each sunrise is an invitation to release regret, renew your vision for the remainder of your life, and commit once more to the life you are striving to create. The first moments of your day are some of the most powerful because they set the tone for everything that follows. For the remainder of your life, when you wake up and immediately affirm your worth, your potential, and your purpose, you prime your mind for clarity and action. A single positive thought in the morning act can, like a compass, guiding your decisions and shielding you from the distractions and negativity that will inevitably arise. Conversely, for the remainder of your life, if your first thoughts are of doubt or dread, your entire day may reflect that energy. For the remainder of your life, starting your day with intentional thoughts is not about ignoring challenges, but about preparing yourself to face them from a position of strength. Affirmations like, I am capable, I am focused, or I am moving toward my goals may seem simple, but they work because they train your subconscious mind to align with your vision. Over time, these repeated statements become ingrained beliefs, and those beliefs begin shaping your behavior naturally. You move with more confidence, speak with more certainty, and act with greater courage. For the remainder of your life, this daily renewal also prevents you from becoming stuck in old patterns. Many people allow yesterday's failures to define today's actions. For the remainder of your life, carrying the weight of disappointment into every new opportunity. But when you deliberately reset your thinking each morning, you free yourself from that weight. For the remainder of your life, you remind yourself that no matter how many times you've stumbled, you can still rise and try again. And this mindset is what allows progress to compound on over time for the remainder of your life. In the quiet of each morning, you hold the power to rewrite your story before the world has even begun to speak into it. By starting the day affirming your worth and focusing on what you can achieve, you build momentum that carries into every interaction and every choice. Over days, weeks, and months, these small, deliberate beginnings create a profound transformation. Life does not change all at once. Change rarely announces itself with fanfare. It often begins quietly in the stillness of a single decision. In one moment, you choose to think differently, to stop seeing yourself as limited and start seeing yourself as capable. That instant of clarity may not immediately alter your circumstances, but it sets in motion a ripple that touches every part of your life. Over time, the small shifts born from that one decision accumulate into something profound until you hardly recognize the person you once were. The beauty of this transformation lies in its accessibility. You do not need perfect conditions to begin for the remainder of your life, nor must you wait for a new year, a new week, or a new chance. The decision to think differently is available to you in this very moment. It is not a matter of time, but of will. The willingness to stop entertaining the thoughts that have held you back and to replace them with thoughts that push you forward. The instant you do this, the trajectory of your life changes, even if the results have yet to appear. This change is rarely dramatic at first. In fact, the external world may look exactly the same. The same job, the same home, the challenges may surround you, but something inside you feels different. You begin approaching problems with curiosity instead of defeat, opportunities with courage instead of hesitation. This inner shift alters the way you speak, act, and respond for the remainder of life, and slowly the outer world starts to reflect the change that began within. What makes this process powerful is its compounding nature. Each new choice to think differently builds on the last. Over days and weeks, your new mindset becomes a habit, and that habit creates momentum. The struggles that once paralyzed you begin to feel manageable. Goals that once felt distant start to feel achievable. Before long, what started as a single decision becomes a lifestyle, one defined by growth rather than limitation. The truth is that life does not transform overnight, but it does transform the moment you decide it will. That instant of commitment marks the true beginning of your new story. It may take time for the results to unfold, but they will, because thought always precedes action. Your mind is the most valuable territory you will ever own, and yet it is often left unguarded. Every day, countless influences compete for entry. The conversations you hear, the images you see, the words you read, each one plants a seed, and with enough repetition, these seeds grow into beliefs that quietly shape your future. For the remainder of your life, if you do not choose carefully what enters your mind, you may find yourself living out ideas that are not even your own, bound by limitations you unknowingly accepted. Guarding your mind begins with awareness. Pay attention to the messages you consume, because even seemingly harmless words and images carry weight. A casual remark from a friend. For the remainder of life, a headline on a screen or scene in a movie can plant subtle suggestions about who you are and what is possible for you. Over time, for the remainder of your life, these suggestions become the lens through which you view yourself and the world. Protecting your thoughts is not about isolation. It is about discernment. Learning to filter what deserves space in your mental landscape. This vigilance extends to the people you allow close to you. Not everyone's voice deserves the same influence over your life. Some voices will push you to rise higher, while others will quietly convince you to settle for less. The mind, like a fortress, must have gates, and not everyone should be allowed to pass through them. By surrounding yourself with those who speak encouragement, wisdom, and possibility, you reinforce the beliefs that strengthen you rather than weaken you. The same principle applies to what you choose to study and reflect upon. Books, teachings, and ideas are nourishment for the mind, and what you feed, it will determine its strength. Filling your thoughts with inspiration, knowledge for the remainder of life, and positive visions equips you to handle life's challenges with resilience. Filling it with negativity or trivial distractions, on the other hand, weakens your resolve and leaves you vulnerable to fear and doubt. Ultimately, the destiny you create depends on the thoughts you allow to live in your mind. A well-guarded mind becomes a source of power, clarity, and direction. A neglected mind, however, becomes a battlefield where